all the glory begins here. I'm gonna share with you my 5 top deadlift training accessories that I use to build a super heavy and strong deadlift. One of the common faults I see on the deadlift is the athlete's inability to brace their upper back. The upper back is a huge power player in making sure that the force that you generate off the ground with your legs does not get lost on a soft and squishy back. What I immediately think of in upper back power are the lat muscles. The muscles on either side of the body that brace those shoulders and don't allow any forward motion. A huge way to increase the strength of your lats, tried and tested through all the years of strength training, the barbell bent over row. It's a big power movement, a big compound lift. The traps, the lats, the biceps, the elbow flexors, they all come into play to make sure that the shoulder systems posteriorly are fortified and ready to tackle some big deadlifts. On the barbell rows, I like to set up very similar to my deadlift because that's what we're doing. We're beefing up the deadlift. A similar foot posture. I'm going to take a similar grip, mimic the angles of the barbell deadlift, and start throwing some big weight in there, bringing some power to the lats. With the arms, rowing it in. Focusing on the shoulder blades, the lats, all those muscles that keep that bar close to me, that keep the spine straight throughout the course of the deadlift. If I can do this for 10, 12, 15 reps, what do you think that does for a single repetition on a heavy barbell pull? Exercise number 2 on how to build your deadlift. We worked on the upper body. Let's not forget the lower body. Deadlifts are powered by the hamstrings, and you want to make sure your hamstrings are ready to take over any power drive created with the quads and finish it off to a full lockout overhead. The stiff leg deadlift is a big power player in my accessory training regimen. I want my hamstrings strong. I want them not only to be able to withstand an enormous amount of time under tension for deadlift or rep events, but I want them to have supreme strength and power for 1 rep max events as well. Stepping up to the bar, it's the same foot posture as my conventional deadlift. Legs straight down from where they attach to the hips. I'm tracing a straight line as I bend over. Not squatting with my knees, just hinging at the hips. Down to the bar. Closing my grip. This hip hinge, before I lift, if there's any softness in my back, I pull all those muscles tight in the posterior. Again, tightening those lats, getting that external rotation on both sides, mimicking the machine that would do the job. Focusing on the hamstrings and the glutes, I pull the weight up and really exaggerate the lockout, squeezing the glutes, flexing the hamstrings, getting the most out of each and every single rep. I'll go down to the ground for a dead stop, make sure all the muscles are set and braced again, right back up. If I'm really trying to get creative and strain my hammies, I will go down slow and control the eccentric. But I really like the way a dead stop at the bottom forces you to have all those muscles ready to go, just as if they would have to be on a full weight deadlift. If I want to go for hypertrophy or muscular endurance, I'll hit these Romanian style, a controlled eccentric right before I hit the ground, straight back up. And do that for a series of reps. Controlled, never getting a chance to stop until my rep count is done. This is a massive time under tension, a massive amount of hypertrophy and growth and endurance for the muscles at work. Exercise number 3 to build your deadlift. At the top of the deadlift and all throughout the course of the range of motion, your traps are really being tugged on by tremendous weight loads. When we think of traps, we think of shrugs. If you see someone who's got well-developed traps, large traps, visibly obvious traps, you know that body has been put to work time and time again. When it comes to the deadlift, this is an accessory movement to really make sure that the shoulders are able to support the weight that you're lifting from start to finish. I can think of this one in terms of how much weight I'm going to be doing relating to my deadlift max. I strongly feel, and I've always felt this way from the start of my early deadlift training, the athlete, if they're progressively building power of their deadlift, should be able to shrug a barbell for at least 10 repetitions of 70% of their 1 rep max. That seems like a big number, and it's heavy. That means me, with a deadlift max of 1,000 pounds, I have to be able to shrug 700 for at least 10 reps. If you can fill that order, if your traps can stand up to that task, you will never be limited by shoulder power or strength or your ability of the upper body to fight against the weight of the load. And that's what you want. You want the legs to be able to give it their full power without any holdbacks. This is all for the sake of the deadlift, so I'm mimicking the deadlift posture. Legs straight down from the hips, arms straight down from the shoulders. I'm gonna deadlift the bar all the way up, let my body feel what it's like at lockout, and then I'll start shrugging those reps. Now I can stay here and shrug all day. I typically think that if you're trying to build the traps and their strength, these are muscles that carry around your shoulders and whatever you're holding in them all day long. 10 reps might not be enough to count it. Might not be enough to elicit any type of change. I love working shrugs 20 reps to 30 reps at a time. That's a lot of reps, a lot of time under tension, especially in the 70% plus range. When I'm shrugging 800 pounds for set 20, you can bet that the eyes feel like they pop out. But the results speak for themselves. My traps have been strong from the get-go because of these philosophies. And I truly credit a lot of my deadlift success to strong traps. Hit those barbell shrugs. Keep the grip double overhand. We never want to strain a bicep with an underhand grip. Use your straps. It's about training your traps, not your grip. Make those shoulders indestructible. Accessory movement number 4 to building the deadlift. We're still working on the posterior of the legs, the hamstrings, the glutes, the hip muscles, all the muscles at play that lock out the heavy bar. I love the glute ham raise. I love doing them on GHDs. You can also substitute these for Nordic curls on the ground, have a rack behind you with a band kind of helping you up and down, but this machine is magnificent at really slamming some size and girth onto those hamstrings. I'll set myself up, making sure that I have enough space for my knees to comfortably be at the back end. The idea here is to pull myself up to a kneeling position using only my hamstrings. Once I'm locked in, start from a straight position, slowly go down. I'm gonna focus on the knee joints, pulling me all the way up to kneeling, trying to keep the hips as braced and neutral as I can as I go up and down through a series of hamstring powered raises. I'll cross my arms just to really focus on upper body rigidity. And here I'm gonna go for anywhere from 10 to 15 reps, depending on what the hamstrings can take. I like a nice and controlled eccentric. The body's ability to resist the load of my body weight. Typically, glute ham raises will be in the latter half of my workout. It's very tough for the hamstrings to do all this work on their own. So unless I want to pre-fatigue my muscles, this would be either the second to last or the last accessory in my deadlift day. The last major accessory movement I love using to build my deadlift is the reverse hyperextension. Most of the time in gyms, these serve as a second table. But this machine can be so useful, not just building hamstring strength, but glute strength. This machine keeps the upper body from being in motion and focuses on just the lower body in motion, making sure that the glutes, especially the hip muscles that lock out big weights on deadlift, can swing this apparatus up and down in a nice, controlled manner with a lot of time under tension. On this particular machine, I set myself up, slide the feet in, right where the table bends. That's where I want the crease in my body to line up with. I've got handles on the other side. I'm gonna lock myself in, brace the upper body, and then just like the opposite of a back extension, I'm lifting up the legs. Some people will swing it. I want control. I want some muscular power. Now this is a movement where you can add lots of weight. The heavier you go, the more your muscles are conditioned for big weight deadlifts. But even just the weight of my legs, the weight of my legs plus the swing arm. You replicate that over 10 reps, 15 reps, 20 reps. A lot of time under tension, a lot of blood flow. A nice way to polish off any deadlift training session, making sure that the posterior hips are ready to go. Those are the top 5 deadlift accessories that the Texas Titan uses to fortify his deadlift and to chase after those world record numbers.